Good afternoon. We are Group 11 and we are here to present our team design called EduCenter. Over the course of our presentation, we're going to go through the following 11 slides. An introduction, development of the learning objective and how we created it, the context and background of our teaching elements and how it aligns with graphic design and the team design goals, design problems and challenges, what elements and principles we've used, our key learning objective and our objective, what we want to see an outcome for our goal as a teaching concept, and also corresponding with learning objectives that we've learned within the course, results, and then any questions and comments that you guys have. So for the introduction, as a group, we are designing and introducing a learning opportunity to increase our end users' knowledge with different languages in certain communities. Firstly, we want to increase the diversification within our communities as a whole so we can effectively communicate and serve and create a better understanding within a given community. By engaging different types of learning activities, teaching sessions, language sessions, and having help from teaching professionals, we're going to make this happen, and also corresponded to a different type of learning for people that are either working during the day or have other personal interests. So most classes will be offered during the nighttime. And again, this will make our communities more aware of the different cultures, languages, and interests that are around them. As any community, for example, like Oshawa, are more diverse, it's becoming more aware to myself and many others that we should become more immune to different languages so we can communicate better and there would be less barriers within. In regards to the teaching objective, our main objective is to provide members of a community with effective learning materials and classes at zero cost to enhance their learning and their knowledge on languages that they could benefit from, whether they benefit from their professions, promotions, or with their personal lives, their community, their friends and family. This is something that adults and different types of students could use. Of course, we would want to see if we can get some type of funding to help this across and make it happen from private communities and private sectors. For example, like Durham College and UIT, if they're going to have available rooms and teachers that would volunteer time, or to get funding from our government to enhance our cash flows, and then again it would be used to bring in teaching professionals and materials so we can provide that for our students. Again, depending on who the student is and what their end goal is, we want to make sure that they are comfortable and that they're going to use the language and the teaching materials and the classes to benefit themselves. It's the whole goal here is to push someone forward and to make them more aware of their cultural differences and to learn from other professionals and take away stuff from their classes. Again, I think we're going to be aiming towards making these classes from around 6 to 9 at night during the week, which differs from individuals' personal interests and job professions during the day. This next process is called the development of learning object. Again, there's different stages and different areas of expertise when trying to figure out how we're going to develop a certain learning objective or certain classes and stuff like that. It's very situational. So there's 4 main crucial steps that we are looking at following when gathering information and trying to figure out what's the best suitable in a given area. So first we will create some research, some market research to understand in a certain area what's the main languages, what's the need. So what language needs to be taught more because it's becoming more of an issue of people not knowing it, or there's becoming more population of people that speak it. Then to understand what languages are needed and how we're going to effectively teach those languages to students that need it for, again, personal interests, hobbies, professions, cultural differences, friends and family, etc., etc. Once we have done the research, understanding what language we need, understanding how to teach the language and stuff like that. We would love to gather teachers, seek volunteers, seek extra help. And again, this could be benefits for the teachers and volunteers to add to their resume saying, for example, I helped Oshawa's population grow and enhance of learning French or other languages like that to help others grow. That's something they could take away from as well. So everybody could gain from the process here. And then after those 3 steps are executed, it would just be easy for us to provide an outline and homework and stuff like that, a professional outline, so students can see, okay, what am I going to be tested on? What are the requirements of the course, and is it manageable with the time I have allotted for this, excluding my personal interests and hobbies? So in regards to the context and background section of this presentation, and the main thing about context is to understand the objective and what we need to set the objective and to have the results, the proper results that we're looking for. For example, this main objective for us is to diversificate the population in terms of different languages, and so the students can have a tangible learning environment and have takeaways from it, and so they can bring that to their families and friends and everything like that. So the context behind it is to enhance students with credible, tangible takeaways from a course that we would provide them with teaching professionals to grow an environment and to basically grow people themselves to get to their next level or whatever their next level may be. The background side of things is very situational, depending on certain areas. I'll give you an example. So if it was Oshawa, we would look at the demographic. What are the main languages? As at Oshawa, on the north side near UIT and Durham College is growing drastically with the population increases coming from the GTA. It's very hard to say what language we would prefer and what language would we teach. But I know primary languages as of right now would be English and French. But there's some international students that might struggle with the proceedings of English and French. Therefore, we would create a objective to teach and have classes aside from their classes at UIT, and we can also aim towards people that aren't in school as well, who would want to take English classes and French classes to enhance their knowledge. Just to add a little bit more to the background side of things and how we would operate, of course, we would look for partnerships and other opportunities to make things more readily available for our students and adults who are learning. This way, Oshawa, for example, could benefit from our classes that were conducted in certain areas at local schools, anybody that was able to give us free area of space to work, safe areas, stuff like that, people that could feel trusted, and, it would become like a enhanced cycle of learning. So as students become more aware and knowledgeable and more intelligent with the material being processed to them, for example, if they're learning French, now they could teach their friends and their families and stuff like that. So as a general population, it would increase the awareness and the attributes behind that given language or that given topic in a certain area, for example, Oshawa. It's just a process that would be repeated, and the key areas and takeaways would continue. And of course, as a group, if this was outlined even further, we would continue extensive market research and then see how effective it is. We'd have measurable results, and then see where we could take it elsewhere in different geographical areas with different demographics.
So when it comes to the design goals, we wanted to create a learning object where bilingual teachers can teach different languages to those interested. We also wanted our artifact to give a soft feeling towards learning. In addition to that, we wanted it to have a strong brand figure, kind of similar to the TDSB half apple. When people see that brand, they instantly recognize it. Next, we wanted our artifact to have a strong focus on the brand. So we wanted to place it in the middle of everything. And finally, we want our brand to be easily representable, so it can be easy to put it onto t-shirts when we have volunteer events or trucks in the near future, or just simply putting up a poster on a wall. We just want it to be easily representable so people can notice and recognize our brand right away.
So in this section of the presentation, we're going to be looking at design problems / challenges. The first one we had more of a problem with was the background color. We had to see what colors fit with other colors in contrast because we wanted to become an attractive visual representation for our idea to help others in language barriers. The logo itself was more difficult to create. We wanted to have more of a simplicity type of logo, nothing too busy, nothing too drastic either, and more simple edges and colors and contrast with it. Mixed with the attributes that were offered throughout the whole presentation and stuff like that, we wanted to make sure it's not too busy and not too drastic towards our target and our audience and our viewers. Lastly, the thing we wanted to utilize, which was also kind of a problem, was the sizing and how we fit it into our presentation. As anything happens, sometimes it's hard to crop certain images without getting away from the key ideas and the main points you're trying to utilize. For example, our main credential, which was the logo, when we started to size it and crop it, it became more difficult to view it and to understand how it looked and the color schemes and how it all fell into play into accordance with our idea. So all these things we had problems with, something we had to overcome and strategize for to help and create a better one to fit our project.
Lines. There are not many lines in our logo design. Instead, we have an asymmetric tree as our main logo. Similar to Khan Academy, we felt that a tree represents growth and that learning is a progressive process. Shapes. Our main goal with our logo was to keep it simple, so we decided not to include any additional shapes in our logo. Form. We decided to keep our logo two-dimensional. This is one of the biggest challenges for our group as none of us were extremely adept at using graphic design software. By keeping it 2D, we were still able to get our desired effect with our logo design. Value. Our center logo, a tree, is meant to draw on people's attention, so the intensity of the green color is higher than the rest of the logo. Space. Keeping the logo centered with enough space around the logo was important to us. We did not want onlookers to have to read too much or have to scan our logo to understand it. With everything being centered, it brings a person's focus right to our tree logo and the name of our program. Color. We naturally chose green as a color we wanted to use to signify growth, but we also feel that using this context, it can represent learning as well. We chose pink/salmon as our background color because it represents kindness. These two colors combined will give people the positive feelings we want associated with our logo. Texture. This was not a main concern for our logo, so again, we kept it simple and made everything smooth to give it a feel of calmness.
For our brand, we wanted a simple but strong artifact such that when people see the brand, they instantly recognize it. So we used design principles like contrast, with the pink background to pop the green in the tree. Pink background represents a nice and safe environment to be in. Alignment, where we have a tree in the middle and the brand name underneath it such that it balances the artifact, creating an equilibrium. And using balance, the artifact grabs people's attention so that they see and recognize our brand and associate the brand name with it. Using these principles, if we ever get funding, it will be very easy to create promotional products such as t-shirts and hoodies.
Key learning objective. We have designed an app for our artifact that will provide a free multi-language classes to our target audience. What we have learned in designing our artifact is a great deal of teamwork, collaboration, and cooperation with each other. We had few logo in our mind initially, for example, books containing multi-language letters on them, but it was too generic, so we gave them up. We use a tree. Tree is a symbol of innovation, something new, growing up, regional innovation, revival. So we came up with the green tree. And in that concept, we said that because our branch, their branches in the tree, and so that our branch grow out of another, so is our language. The challenging part and learning curve was the researching and finding a target audience, which we used library resources and also some stats on government website. The color scheme also we had to change from black and yellow to green, and also our team was, because we had a different background, educational background, but we actually came into agreement to design this artifact.
So as we're winding down in the presentation here, one of the key things that we would like to address is the results, or the proceedings of the results, and to understand where we want to go with the main idea here. So as a result, we want to make sure our objective is met by offering a beneficial educational classroom or teaching setting to those who are interested in learning more about a given language or a set language that was offered at that time, whether it be in Oshawa or another city. That way people can enhance their own knowledge. The objective, again, as Oshawa for an example, would be to have an outcome for individuals attending the classes to become proficient in other countries' language and cultural barriers, and also have an increased professions that relates to their field. So not only are they learning and enhancing their knowledge, but they could benefit themselves by either having more opportunities in their professions to advance. And just a result is mainly to see the students grow, and the students to take away key tangible facts from our courses that basically just it enhances our knowledge and it shows us that they're learning. And then again, the result would be to make sure the objective gets met. In regards to the outcome side of this presentation, again, we want to continue the creation to match our primary objective. Similar to the results, outcome differs from results because results are tangible and what has actually happened. But as an outcome, we want to see the results. We want to see how people learn. We want to see more than just results. We want to see problems, and we want to see stresses, stuff that we can address, stuff that we can learn from ourselves to make the program better. Initially, we want to see feedback from our peers, feedback from our teachers and learning professionals and students, so then we can alter the program the next time we run it. That way, it's continuing to get better and address different types of learners that are out there, because not every single student in different cultures can learn the same way. So the outcome would be to learn from the students as they learn from us. And so both of us, myself, our group, and other ones could take away more than just a learning objective or a graphic design or some type of language that they haven't become aware of. So they could take away more than just that. It's a whole learning curve itself. So to conclude, as a group, we have successfully created a learning objective that is equipped with credentials and graphic designs and the whole functionality of this presentation to also address helping others in a learning environment. As outlined in previous slides, design techniques, elements, principles, problems, and challenges that occurred during the creation of this application definitely tested our knowledge on how to adapt to certain credentials and how to fix things, whether it be trying to implement a different type of picture or how to solve a problem or look at the why a picture looks a certain way and to outline what types of tactics we use in that so it appeals to our target market. We also talked about our main objective and how we plan to help students on a non-operational hour basis for free at nighttime, and this obviously relates to our learning objective and how we've concluded and created this entire project for you guys. Lastly, the mediums we used and all this other related stuff. We'd like to see any feedback you guys have as we posted in Motto. Again, the feedback is very crucial, and we like to see that because, again, outlined in previous slides, we'd like to learn from ourselves as well and your feedback as well, so thank you. So as this comes to the end of our presentation, we wanted to thank you for your time, and again, thank you for listening to our presentation. I hope you saw our graphic designs and saw the well-created work that we put into this presentation, as well mixed with the teaching concept and the idea to help others in giving communities is definitely a strong point of ours. If you have any questions or comments or any kind of feedback you want to verbally ask us here, that'd be greatly appreciated. So thank you.